Is there objection?
Reserving the right to object.
The junior senator from Oklahoma.
So here's my problem. Yesterday, and I mean yesterday, Secretary of Defense released out a memorandum. The memorandum was about pay for National Guard members in the vaccine. We have National Guard members in very large numbers and percentages all around the country that have not been vaccinated at this point. Now, there's two sets of rules for the National Guard. One for the Air National Guard. Their deadline for the vaccination is tomorrow. Now, remember, this memorandum came out yesterday. Their deadline for the vaccination is tomorrow, December the 2nd. For the Army National Guard, their deadline is the 30th of June. So two sets of rules for the Air National Guard and for the Army National Guard. Completely different, 6 months apart plus. For the Air National Guard, this word came out yesterday with this statement: no Department of Defense funding may be allocated for payment of duties performed under Title 32 for members of the National Guard who do not comply with the Department of Defense COVID-19 vaccination requirements. And then this statement: no credit or excused absence shall be afforded to members who do not participate in drills, training, or other duty due to failure to be fully vaccinated against COVID-19. What does this mean in real life? Well, in real life, it means as of tomorrow, members of the Air National Guard, not the Army National Guard, they have 6 more months plus. But members of the Air National Guard, as of tomorrow, even if they're not on federal duty, will no longer be paid, no longer be allowed to drill. That means this coming weekend, Air National Guard members that were headed to drill that have not been vaccinated can't drill. What does that mean in real life? Well, National Guard members don't get TRICARE taken and get that free and taken care of and provided for by the taxpayers like active duty does. To get TRICARE from them, it comes out of their check. But if they're not getting a check, then it interrupts their payments. So what the Secretary of Defense did yesterday was announce that Air National Guard members, as of this weekend, will not be paid anymore, will not be allowed to drill anymore, and we have thousands of them all over the country. At the last check, the Guard had about 50% compliance on the vaccination. In some areas of the Guard, they've had very serious concerns. Well, let me just identify this, not just as a readiness issue, that we have individuals that have served in the Guard for years that now are suddenly not going to be paid and are going to have their insurance at risk. And it's not just that, but this is also a federalism issue. And I know this gets lost in the conversation. The National Guard is not active duty. They're not reservists. The National Guard, when they're under Title 32, they actually work for the state. The National Guard in my state works for the governor of my state. The governor of my state is their commander-in-chief. According to the United States Constitution, for the Guard members, their officers are selected by the governor of the state. That's how we set up the National Guard. It's not the active duty. It's not the reserves. They're different. Their time when they're federally connected is when they're called up what's called Title 10. And the United States President actually calls them up, and they shift from Title 32 under the state's authority to Title 10. You want to know what the separations are even in funding? Let me make it clear. The way the statute actually lays this out in Title 32, Section 108, if there's a Guard unit that's not complying, then DOD can cut funding to the state, not to individual members. What is this memorandum? It's not cutting funding to the state. It's cutting funding to individuals that are within the Guard. That is not allowed in Title 32, Section 108. The consequences for a Guard unit not being ready is to cut off funding to the state. That's how the section worked. In fact, even just a few years ago, in an NDAA, just like what we're debating, there was a section to allow the DOD to be able to reach into units and to be able to take on and punish individuals with their pay, and that was blocked here in this body. was not allowed. But this administration is going around Congress, around the states, reaching into individual airmen and docking their pay. And so far, this body is letting them. That is a terrible precedent. That is terrible for the families in this National Guard unit. It is terrible for the morale even, because the Pentagon gave one set of rules to the Army Guard and another set of rules to the Air Guard. And these individuals, as of this weekend, will not be paid anymore unless this body acts. So my request is very straightforward. The amendment that I bring to the floor protects National Guard not just in my state, all over the entire country, because there are Air Guard members in every one of our states that are worried about what's going to happen tomorrow to them when they have been faithfully serving their country. And all that I ask is we file this simple amendment, we allow a vote on this simple amendment in this body, and we prohibit the discharging or the withholding of pay and benefits to National Guard members based on their COVID-19 vaccination status. It's very straightforward, it's very clean. It does nothing but say we stand with our National Guard members and we will not allow their pay to be cut, not only because we stand with them individually, but we also disagree with the interpretation of the Pentagon, who is not allowed to reach into a unit, select individual members and not pay them. That's not the way that it works under Title 32, Section 108. So yes, I asked to modify the request to include my amendment 4863.